Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 36 of the Audible Farm podcast. Today I'm sitting down with Johnathan Rowl. John was the guitarist in TV Cop. That's how I met him, but recently he announced his departure from TV Cop, and we discussed what he's been doing in his off time and his downtime, what he did before and after, what he plans to do with his future, his past bands. He does a little bit of recording, and the two of us got in touch and realized our schedules wouldn't meet up very well. But we did get in touch and do a remote interview, and we got this one nailed down pretty good. And I just want to give a huge shout out to John for making it happen. So thanks to Johnathan Rowl for helping me out with this remote interview. This is episode number 36 with Johnathan Rowl.
It's the Audible Farm podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
All right. Sitting down today with Johnathan Rowl. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Correct, yeah.
I've never actually asked you that, so. But you and I haven't ever really conversed very much, but I knew you as the guitarist in TV Cop for quite a while.
Yeah.
And you recently announced your departure.
Yeah.
And what are you doing instead?
Right now I'm playing drums in a band called Good Devils. It's just a two-piece. I play drums, and my friend Jeremy Bendy, he's playing bass, and we've got it set up through like a octave pedal, and he's running it stereo out of bass cab and out of guitar cab too. So.
Oh, that's really awesome.
Yeah, it's cool, something different.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've contemplated attempting stuff like that. I mean, I've got all the stuff in my basement to set something up like that, but I've never actually had. I don't know if you want to say been brave enough to try it, especially go out and do it live.
Yeah, it's been just a lot of trial and error. Like, yeah, even I'm getting very involved in his like pedal setup and all that, just trying to. And I think we finally got a good sound coming out now, so
that's good, man.
Yeah.
I recall a band. There was a band called like Death from Above 1979.
Yep.
And they had a bassist and a drummer set up.
Yeah. Actually, they're kind of what gave me the idea. It was just.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember, like, not to date myself, but like 10, 15 years ago, I'd say closer to 15 years ago, a buddy of mine showed me that band, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then, I saw them a couple times on, like, late night TV when that was still a semi-popular thing.
Yeah.
They're intriguing, man. It's really intriguing.
Yeah.
I saw you've been recently sharing some of your videos, or some of your links to your new music, I guess I should say.
Yeah,
on
trying
your Facebook page.
Trying to, yeah.
Yeah, it's at Good Devils Music on Facebook.
Yep.
That's correct, right?
Yep. I think that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's all the same.
Instagram and Twitter. Oh, sweet. I didn't even know you had Twitter, so I'll be sure to add you on Twitter here today.
Yeah.
I'll double check the Instagram and stuff before I share it, but if it's anything different, it's in the description below. If not, Johnathan nailed it all. I'm sure he knows what it is because it's his stuff. So, yeah, actually, I just went to your Good Devils Facebook page here, and I clicked on your events page. You got a couple of events coming up. I see one in there. It's kind of a special one. It's You got two shows at Gabe's, huh?
2 shows at Gabe's.
Looks like the May 23rd show is with Winslow and Bain Marie.
Yep. Yeah, that's gonna be it's a free show downstairs.
Cool.
It'll be a good time.
Yeah, that downstairs bar is a fun place. It's a nice little nook.
Yeah.
You get tucked in the corner. It's fun.
Yep. I played there one time with TV Cop and injured myself pretty good. So.
Oh man, what'd you do?
Well, I've decided it would be a good idea to monkey bar the rafters that are like twice as high as the rafters upstairs.
Yep.
And yeah, just the drop alone, I underestimated how big of a drop it was. So.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah. So, I won't be doing that again.
I don't blame you. So, I mean, sounds like everybody missed out on that. But you've been known to have shenanigans at shows. Like I recall seeing you with TV Cop a handful of times, and for a while it seemed like every show you'd try and pick something kind of unique to do during the show. Like one time, there was a part where the music kind of just called for you to create a bunch of feedbacky kind of noise for a few, like about a bar or two.
Yeah.
And you just like set your guitar down and ran around the entire audience and like came back onto the stage and picked your guitar up and played again.
Yeah. It was just kind of, winging it off the wall. Like, what can I do right now? That's crazy. Like one show we played in Oskaloosa, and it was a fairly sized empty room. And they asked us if they wanted them to set up like fold-up chairs for people to sit. And we were like, we don't care, whatever. So they set them up. And then during that part, I couldn't really think of anything aside from just start stacking as many chairs as I could on top of each other until they were falling over. And
That's hilarious.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's kind of funny. I didn't know whether or not you like sat down and planned all these things out before every single show, or just kind of did it on the fly, or
pretty much on the fly. I'd just kind of like before the gig, I'd glance around. Oh, can I claim that? No. Well, figure something out. Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be jumping out of the rafters at Gabe's on May 23rd.
No. Especially
maybe on September 27th.
Perhaps. I mean,
dude, that's going to be a cool show. That's got Doyle of the Misfits headlining, and you guys are going to be opening up for that.
Yeah, I was. I just stumbled across it on Facebook, and I was like, screw it. I'll message Gabe's, and they forwarded it to the promoter, and they messaged me, and it was a done deal pretty quick. I was like, oh, sweet.
Dude, that's stellar. It's going to have, let's see here, Doyle of the Misfits with Brotherhood of the Mudcat, Good Devils, that's you, and then the Sleepover. And I mean, Emery from the Sleepover, everybody knows Emery from the Sleepover. I did a podcast with him, and he recently did a video for your old band TV Cops. So, I mean, Emery's all over the place. That show's going to be packed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I just went to the Facebook page for it, and it says 44 views in the last 6 hours. So,
hell yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one. I'm clicking interested right now.
Cool.
For anybody that's listening, that's Friday, September 27th.
And get your tickets from us or Emery, because we're going to be selling them $15 a piece.
Oh, you guys are selling your tickets there?
Yeah, we got it's a pay to play, so unfortunately,
right, yeah,
but
yeah, I mean, there's the double-edged sword of the pay to play. Give me just a second here.
Yeah.
The double-edged sword of the pay-to-play is the fact that you got to do extra work before the show even starts, which is like selling tickets, hawking them, doing whatever you can to put tickets into other people's hands to make up some of the difference for how much it costs to play the show. So, like, vis-a-vis, if you sell enough tickets, you could get paid to play the show, but it's a toughie, man. It's a tough road to hoe, but at the same time, the amount of exposure you get for it's insane.
Yeah, I've done quite a few with past bands, and with this one, with Good Devils, I was like, we're never doing a pay-to-play. No, I'm tired of it. And then I saw that one coming around. I was like, well, maybe just one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that always how it works, though?
Yeah, pretty much. It
does seem like some bands are better suited for a pay-to-play or like more built for a pay-to-play type situation than others, though.
Yeah.
And it's I guess it's not to say that like some bands are kind of above other bands or whatever, but it's kind of like there's some shows that are more fit for a cover band and some shows there's more fit for a non-cover band. It's just I feel like some bands have that draw towards doing the pay-to-play shows, and they can pull it off and gain the exposure and maybe make up the difference in selling merch or something.
Right.
But even then, if you don't even want to do any of that stuff and you're a musician looking to hop on a pay-to-play show, I'd say just go ahead and do it. It's if you got the money to do it and it's not going to be too tough. Like I said, the exposure alone is totally worth it. But if you're not out there to get exposure, because I get it, exposure doesn't pay the bills.
Right.
But at the same time, that you could sell merch or something on the side to help pay your bills.
Yeah.
Dude, that Doyle of the Misfits show is going to be sweet.
Yeah.
I hope I can make it. I have no guarantees as to where I'm going to be in September, but that's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
So you also have you were in a band called Poorly Crafted Dog, were you not?
Yes. Yeah, that was something I've had songs written and stockpiled for over 5 years, and it was like, I need to do something with these.
All right.
So that's basically what that was, and had it was a 3-piece. Played a few played a few shows. It didn't. Yeah, we didn't really last that long. I mean, but hopefully here soon we'll get back together and do some more stuff.
Oh, you're gonna fire it back up, maybe, huh?
Yeah. It's
Well,
been
that'd be
rolling through
sweet.
my mind for a while, so.
Well, yeah, you might as well. I mean, how many bands have you been in over the past however many years you've been playing? Like, let's start somewhere at the beginning. What was the first instrument you picked up?
Well, guitar. My dad played guitar since he was 13, so I've always had guitars at my disposal. And then I guess yeah. So he's been in bands, and he'd have drummers come over. They'd leave their kit. One in particular would leave his kit, but he'd always take the kick pedal home for some reason.
Oh.
So, but
I
I'd
don't
get
know.
to play around and just fill in the kick spots with the floor tom, and so.
Oh, cool.
That's where my drumming experience started, and then after the drums went, then it was all guitar. My dad gave me his first guitar. It was a Hags drum. And
Gotta start somewhere. It's
yeah.
not like that's a bad guitar.
Yeah, they just started remaking the guitars he gave me as the HIIN or something like that. Really SG looking. And the one he gave me got destroyed a long time ago, but they just started remaking them, and I'm like seriously considering ordering another one. But
Dude, I just pulled them up on. I mean, for people listening at home, I'm sure I'll explain this in the intro to this, but we're doing a remote cast, so I'm online, and I'm like, we're talking over the internet, but I pulled up one of these Hagstrom HIIN guitars, and it's exactly like you said. It's really SG, like maybe like a skosh of Fender, but it's mostly SG.
yeah, it's like slightly offset.
Yeah,
body.
just barely.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a neat looking guitar, man.
yeah. Yeah,
That's pretty sweet stuff. So you got your first guitar from your dad. It was one of his guitars.
yeah.
And then,
Yeah, I started seriously playing guitar when I was like 10.
oh,
and,
cool.
Yeah, just kept doing guitar from then on, and yeah.
I mean, I know you still play guitar, but you've also played the drums. You played drums in TV Cop for a while when you had to find a drummer, and you decided to just be the guy for a while and play the drums.
Yeah.
And I mean, kudos to you for the multi-talent there, because being able to do both is not easy.
No, it's not. Like,
And it's not like TV Cop's easy material. That's pretty demanding material, start to
No.
finish.
yeah.
And if I recall correctly, TV Cop just didn't take breaks while playing. So,
Right.
I mean, it was like you guys had like 40-minute set, and there was like 39 minutes and 52 seconds worth of music.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
nonstop. So,
Yeah.
dude,
no.
kudos. Like, what's that like switching back and forth or trying to do that even within your own band?
It's a challenge, especially like with TV Cop. All the parts were already written, and so it's like I have to learn these previously written parts and try and play them. And the drummer who did them, Tyler Minders, he's insanely good. I've played with him. He was in my first band, and
Oh, cool.
it was yeah. He's been playing drums since he was 3. So
Oh, jeez.
insanely good drummer, and I just can't. Yeah, I can't do his stuff. So we actually had to dumb it down when he left, and I jumped in on drums, and so yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, if anybody threw me in on drums, you'd have to dumb everything down quite a bit. But it'd just be booms and chucks, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you also do some recording, though. Is that? I mean,
Yeah.
you did some of the. Did you do some of the TV Cop recordings?
I did the whole record, season 3.
Season 3, cool.
Yeah.
I actually just snagged a copy of that, so
Yeah.
props,
Right on.
dude. It sounds great.
Thank you.
Absolutely. How long have you been recording stuff?
Oh, I probably started about 5 years ago when I got an iPad with GarageBand. So,
Dude, yeah, that was my first introduction into it too, and
Yeah.
it kind of blew my mind how simple you could, like how easily you could make very decent sounding raw tracks.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I've, thinking, like, I don't know what EQ or compression is, when I first started. And with the GarageBand, at least, you didn't really need to know a whole lot of that stuff because it kind of, like, automatically did a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so,
that's probably the beauty and the downfall of GarageBand is that it's super
Right.
easy to use for somebody that just wants to pick it up. And I mean, that's all I use for my podcast. Even
yeah,
you don't need anything super in depth to just edit together a podcast, and it works so well and it's so simple.
yeah.
But it does have the ability to throw in, like, your compression, your limiters, and you change all the other nonsense you need to if you need to.
Yeah, it does. I was too, well, uninformed, I guess,
Yeah. I mean, you got to start somewhere. If you listen,
Yeah.
that's what I say. Tell everyone, like, go back to episode, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, just start listening through and play the first, like, 10 seconds of each one and listen to how the audio changes on every podcast I've had up until about 20. And I
Yeah.
started figuring out what I was doing. So it does take a while, even if, like, I didn't go to school for it. Did you?
No.
No. So, like, I'm doing the same thing you're doing. I'm guessing and testing and then using the internet to rely on
Yep.
other people's tips. And
A lot of Google.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you're, like, because I'm just recording audio. So it's pretty much just make sure the lines are wiggling and nothing's in the red.
Yeah.
And then throw some compression on it and it sounds amazing. But
Yeah.
with you, I'm sure you have to go in with each instrument or with each kind of sound that's trying to come out and figure out the best way to go about and attempt to capture that.
Yeah.
And
I've
I'm
probably-
sure that's not as easy.
No. Well, like, a lot of Google. It's,
Yeah.
Like, gone on and I've probably saved 10 pages each of, like, just bass AQ or how to put compression on a guitar, and stuff like
Yep.
that. It's just a lot of different ways to do it. And, yeah, just kind of got to go through all of it and then piece it all together in your own way is basically how I did it,
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I really wanted to go to school for audio engineering growing up, and I just didn't have the guts, I guess, might be a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I just stayed in Humboldt and didn't do anything. I just worked at a meat counter the whole time, but
Yeah.
I ended up getting into it, on my own time, and I kind of wished I would have went to school for it because I'm sure there's like a decent set of rules. But one of my favorite things I remember listening to, like, you'd have bands from like the 70s and the 80s and 90s, and eventually they'd have all their stuff get remixed and remastered.
Yeah.
And it's not like it was different. It was just updated for the media that it was being played on, or like the newer technology it was being played through, etc. And you'd get like, there's not actually any like 100% set of rules and laws you have to follow to mix and master these things.
Totally.
Or
Yeah.
or even you'd find like one song that was made by a band, and then after it got popular, there's like, I don't know, Andy Sneap might have like remixed it or something like that. Or he might have done his own mixing on it instead of
Yeah.
whoever else mixed it the first time or whatever. Like Jay Baumgartner was a big one for a while to be like a music producer or mixer master guy. So
Yeah.
I mean, it
Steve
just kind of
Wilson.
depends on who likes to do what.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked what you said about applying it the way that you feel you need to apply it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, otherwise, yeah, I don't know. That's the only way I could make it make sense to me. Like, and it's hard. Like, I don't want to be just a straight up copy and paster. Like, oh, it says up at 7 dBs at 450 hertz or whatever, and well, no, move that around just a little bit and find out what works. That's,
Yeah.
that's all it is.
Oh yeah, I mean,
playing.
I totally get it. It's like finding your own voice. It's like
Yeah.
finding your own guitar tone. You know, you go online and somebody says, "I turn my knobs like this," and you get them somewhere close, and you're like, "It sounds good." And then you're like, "Well, what happens if I twist a little bit more or a little
Yeah.
less on this one?" And you start to find your own sound a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, that's something else I liked going and seeing you play live, because it's not like you have a plethora of pedals, but you always seem to have a decent amount of pedals on your board, and that was like one of the first things we talked about was a couple of your pedals. I believe like the one that caught my eye, you had like a small clone,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, a chorus, and I was always intrigued by those. Chorus pedals have always been one of my favorite things ever, and that's just like a single knob chorus, right?
Yeah, that's all it is. Single knob, and then it's got a switch for the depth.
Oh,
That's about it.
so it's just two depth, like the switch is just one or the other?
Yep.
Huh. That's pretty simple. I mean, I've got like a 5-knob chorus right now, and it's quite a bit smaller. For a while, I had like a Boss CE20, and it was just like 7 knobs and 2 pedals, and it was like, that's
Yeah.
a little overkill in the chorus department there, bucko. So that
What are you, the
pedal's
Cure?
been just sitting in a box lately, and I mean, I'm sure you've gone through that too, where you end up with like, I'm going to try this pedal out, and you just love it to death, and then all of a sudden you find something else, and then something goes in a box, and it just sits there.
I wish.
Really?
Like, I've just never been able to afford pedals, so like the pedals that I do have were just like some pedals that someone's like, I don't want this anymore, you can use it. And then,
Oh, dang.
yeah. I think
So,
I
like-
bought 2 pedals for myself, and that's the full tone MOSFET,
Yeah,
and
that's a good one.
I don't have it anymore. I wound up selling it, but I had a Swollen Pickle by Way Huge, and that was.
Yeah,
I wish I
always
still
wondered-
had that.
I was wondering if that one sounded good. I see it every now and then go on sale online, and I'm like, I should nab one of these up just to see.
Yeah, it's like I guess I'd compare it to kind of like the Jack White fuzz. Like,
Okay,
yeah,
I gotcha.
really, yeah,
that's one thing I've never really gotten too much into is fuzz pedals, and it's probably because I haven't found a good one that I liked.
yeah,
But I also play a little bit higher distortion, and fuzz and high distortion don't get along the greatest
Yeah.
always.
right,
I guess unless you're looking to make some really grindy kind of sounds. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that have done it, but there's no rules. That's the best part about the pedals. There's no actual rules. There's
yeah,
recommendations, like as far as putting your effects in the effects loop, but not everybody even wants to do that.
yeah. I've never tried that myself, so
Oh man, I did it once and never looked back. But
yeah,
even so, I've got a phaser that I leave in the front of the chain for some reason. I don't know. I've seen people argue both ways, but
yeah,
so it's not like you have to follow every rule. But
yeah. Like I've heard, you're supposed to put your wah before the distortion. But I like
Yep.
it better after. It just gives it a little more snarl
yeah,
when
I
you're
mean,
bringing it up.
it comes right back down to preference and what you want
Right.
the guitar to sound like.
Totally.
And it might sound different with every amp too. You never know.
Yeah.
So you do your own recording. Have you recorded anything other than TV Cop?
Yeah.
I mean, you've recorded your own stuff. Like, I'm assuming you recorded your Poorly Crafted Dog material and your Good Devils material.
Yep.
All right. What else have you got in there?
There's a band from Keosauqua called Never Knows Best. I did an EP of theirs. Functionally Dysfunctional is what they called it. And
Oh, cool.
I think that's on Spotify.
Nice.
And then I just wrapped up like 2 days ago this cool little, I guess you'd call them country, like country pop. It's 2 girls, really good voices, and it's like they're called the Chickadees.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, like I'm not a country fan, but like their stuff is really good. I'm gonna say that. Aside from me recording it and producing it, like they have good songwriting. Yeah.
You know, I'm in the same boat as you. Country's not my favorite, but I feel like once you get involved in the music scene around the people making the music, a lot of the prejudice goes away.
Yeah.
It's weird to say that. I don't want to get like overly philosophical, but like An example for me would be J. Clyde Band. I'm not a big country fan, but J. Clyde Band is like a pretty decently big, like I'd call them a country rock band.
Yeah.
They're not just like a country band, but it's close to country. And dude, I dig their music so much. It's like wildly addictive when you like listen to it and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of the guys on the podcast. I love their musicianship. Most of the guys in that band are in multiple bands. I mean, it's just one of those things where like the prejudice goes away the deeper you get into the community. And I feel like maybe you having a studio, you've got a little bit of a different viewpoint on that than most people because, I mean, I don't know if you're into the studio thing to make money or if you're just out there just recording stuff to help people out or exactly, I'm sure you charge, but it's still one of those deals where you're doing a service to the music community and you're taking on all comers. It's not like you're telling people no.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, does that widen your scope or your viewpoint on music or what you want to do with music, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're recording other bands, you got to go into it with an open mind. Like, whether you like the genre or not, you know, you got to go into it with an open mind and like find what you do like about it and then just try and like some like I've recorded I guess you'd call them a metal band, but nothing awesome or fantastic, just kind of like a Godsmacky
cool. Yeah.
type thing. Yeah. Not my scene, but
me either.
But yeah, it's just like, well, they're about partying. Okay, so yeah, party. Okay. Just get in that mind frame, and yeah, it's going to be a good time, and you're going to have fun.
Have you found yourself trying to like mix the people's personalities into the music at all? Like the party rock and Godsmacky kind of band. Do you remember their name off the top of your head?
Well, they were called Face the Ghost. They're not a band anymore. They actually broke up before we even finished recording like scratch tracks or anything. So, but
that's a bummer.
Yeah, but like a couple of the guys from that band are in a new band I'm just now starting to record. They're called
cool.
All Guts No Glory. Check them out. They're cool.
Oh, sweet.
But yeah, I mean, like I was saying, it's not my cup of tea, but you got to find the party in there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure you see all different kinds of bands because every band has a different MO, like a different reason they're out there to do what they're doing. Yeah. Some people are just doing it for fun. Some people are trying to attack it with a little bit more production. Some people are just out there for a live show. You know, it depends on who you're running into. And I bet you get to see, like you said, the one band was a little bit more in tune to partying, which seems to happen a lot too because, you know, go figure. But it's just, I'm sure you get to run into a lot of different people. And, I mean, I'm just really intrigued, I guess, by the idea because it's kind of like what I'm doing, but you're actually taking what these people do for an art form and then helping them channel it into an outlet for other people.
Yeah.
I before I forget, I want to give a plug to your Black Lab Studios. That's your Facebook page for your recording, correct?
Yep.
And that is at Black Lab Rec Studio. That's REC Studio. Yep. So as in Black Lab Recording Studios. I love your banner at the top there. That's gold money.
Yeah, the dog pooping.
Yes. I mean, so if anybody goes to Facebook and does the Black Lab Rec Studio, check it out. It's a good one. I've given it a like. I'm gonna throw a like from the Audible Farm page on here too.
Cool. Yeah, I don't get on there very much, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like it's tough to have all these Facebook pages and run them all and be cohesive with every single one of them. But you're on here enough to let people know that you're here and you're doing what you're doing, and that's the important thing. As I scroll back through your page, I see the TV Cop season 3. I gotta preface this because here it comes. Everybody, cover your ears. It says "fucking shred." I don't F-bomb too much on the podcast, but there's another one for everybody. But I remember watching that video of you with a semi-hollow body. Yeah. And you're just shredding it up.
Yeah, just making noise. That was...
Yeah, and dude, that's fun stuff. And I think that's what it's all about, literally, is just going out there and making the noise. And you guys in TV Cop were really, really busy. You're really active, playing a lot of music. Are you going to try and stay that active with your new bands?
I'd really like to, yeah. It's just, yeah, I've never been the person to, like, email venues and book shows and all this stuff. So, like, this is kind of a new territory for me. Like, I booked that one show for TV Cop with Oakley Dokley.
Nice.
That was, like, the first show I ever booked. And it was just, like, luck of the draw, I guess.
I bet that place was packed. I didn't make it to that show.
It was packed. Like,
oh, gosh.
Yeah. That was a good show. And yeah, kind of same thing with this Doyle one. Is just kind of, well, we'll see if this works. I don't know. So,
and sure enough, it did.
Sure enough,
you know, and that's what it takes is just having the, I want to say, you just gotta have the guts to put yourself out there. You know.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, fuck it. What's gonna happen? You know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You know, one of the benefits you have is the fact that you have your own studio, so you can record things and make them sound well, even in like a raw form, to just show people the sound of your band.
Yeah, that's definitely convenient.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody has that. And that was one of the reasons I did Audible Farm. Originally, I was trying to record a live video of bands playing with I had a Tascam DR40, which is a really nice, handy little field recorder.
Yeah.
And I just take it out to the shows and record audio for it, and then smash it together with the video and throw it up online, so you'd have a nice little video with some decent audio behind it. And I did that for dozens of bands. I mean, when TV Cop was first sports team, I did it for them. And I believe I may have even done a show with you with TV Cop. I have one recorded. If I do, I'll share it on the Facebook post eventually.
Yeah, I think at like the Vaudeville Muse or something.
Yeah, there's one with you at the Muse. There might even be one with you at Boggs Hole Avenue in Des Moines.
Oh, right on. I
mean, that's just one of the things I think is just giving back to the community in any way possible. Like, I'm sure it soaks up a lot of your time recording bands that, you know, you could be spending on your own band or on your own music. Like you said, you've got backlogs of music just sitting around waiting to have fresher recordings or get hammered out into songs better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just super kudos to you for doing that. I wish I would get more into it, but that just comes down to spending, like you said, all that time on Google and all that energy trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. Because I've got a studio set up in my basement, but I use it solely for podcasting, even though I could honestly just bend a microphone arm around and start doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spend the time to learn it all, I guess. I know, because I know how much work is going to go into it if I want to do it. So
yeah. And anytime I've had musicians come in and I'm just dealing with chord spaghetti and computer crashes, and I'm like, hey, if you ever thought to yourself, I want to open a studio, just don't.
Yeah.
Because
oh man, it's probably first off like wrangling cats, because you have all the musicians, and if they're not all there, then you have to schedule out with with each one of them individually.
Yeah.
And even that's probably got to be difficult, because I'll tell you what, scheduling out podcasts isn't always easy.
Yeah.
Because musicians are busy. I mean, I get it. Like, you've got a full-time job and a full-time hobby. Do you want to spend some of your precious free time traveling halfway across the state? It's tough. I get it.
Yeah.
But dude, the chord spaghetti thing, I know what that's all about too.
Yep.
I know you and I had talked last week a little bit, but as this recording is going to come out a week from Thursday. So the thing about that is about a week and a half ago I played a show, and it's to you and me as we record this, it's Wednesday. But I have a show Wednesday where I have to play a one-man show at a place, and I'm going to play acoustic for about half of it and electric for the other half. But I've got like a shoegaze band sized pedal setup. It's there's like 20 pedals maybe in this setup that I've got going on. And you said chord spaghetti?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you and I first sat down tonight to record this, I was like, man, I just fell out of my chair, and that's because I tripped over all my chords and stuff, and I was trying my best not to fall on all my pedals. And I get it. Like, I couldn't imagine trying to traverse everyone else's rig, too, because you have to bring somebody in and let them set up all their own stuff.
Yep.
And then you have to set up all your stuff around their stuff to record it. It's, I mean, dude,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
almost-
envy that, because even justly, like, I don't envy the people that like had to record me when I got recorded, because it's like I got a pretty big setup. You know, I got the 4 cable setup and an amp and a cab and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when you play live, what do you prefer to drag around? Let me ask you that, because I feel like I want to get away from the head and cab.
2x12 combo.
Dude,
Yeah.
you're so smart.
Yeah, I got my 100-watt Fender Champ, and it's loud enough to where you don't have to mic it if it's one of those gigs, you know. It'll
Yep.
go over the drums. It's
Mhm.
perfect.
How much does that thing weigh?
40, 45 pounds, somewhere around
Oh,
there.
you're lucky.
Yeah.
See, I got a JSX 2x12 that I like using, and it's got a 50 watt to 100 watt option, which means it's got a couple transformers in it. But it's also like, and I kid you not, the thing's got to weigh 85 pounds if it weighs anything. It's insanity.
I believe
So I'd be
it.
bringing that everywhere if I could, but that's just too much. I mean, at that point, it's like a head and a 4x12 cab weighs the same, but I can split that in half at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like that a lot of people are going to the micro setups, because it doesn't, I mean, there's not a necessity to have a 4x12 so much anymore.
No, especially like a lot of the venues these days, they're smaller bars, and you don't need a full stack or a half stack to hear
No.
yourself in that place.
No, and I mean, for a while in Betty, we were running around with, each one of us would have a stack, each one of the guitarists half stack, so we'd each have like 4x12 cabinet, but then we'd stick one behind the drummer, because most places don't have drum monitors.
Yeah.
So in order for a drummer to hear us, if we were set up on a wide stage, we'd have to put a cab behind him.
Yeah.
And me and the other guitarist would split the cab and both go into that cab. So for a long time I was running stereo amps and stereo effects setups and like just going full bore, like ridiculousness.
Yeah.
And I mean, as far as power output, it was far too much for most places we were in. And
Yeah.
I mean, we've done it before. Like, I played at the Valor Ballroom on one occasion, and I brought in a full stack, kind of just to be funny, but at the same time, it was like, I don't know who's running sound here, and I don't know if they're going to be able to mic me up. So this is a place where a full stack might be necessary to get a wide, speak of sound.
Totally.
But I remember dragging him in, and the sound guy looked at me. He's like, "What are you doing with those?" And it's like, yeah, I probably don't need them, but they're going to be here, so...
Yep.
But, yeah, that was actually, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. It would have been 2 years ago I had joined the band. So, yeah, it would have been 2 years ago that show was in April. It was a good show, but it was one of those things where we covered 2 hours, and we're stretching to do it because I had just joined the band. And
Oh, yeah.
the funny thing was I remember taking a picture of my setup, and my setup was one pedal. As opposed to now, I usually drag around about 5 to 10 if I do.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know, like what are some of the craziest shows you think you've played where you were just kind of, you felt a little out of your element?
Oh. I don't know. That's kind of... Well, I guess for a while I was in a band called Wrestling with Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like indie rock. People would describe it as like if Neil Young and Led Zeppelin had a baby. I don't know.
Okay.
But
All right.
we'd wind up getting booked at these death metal shows all the time.
Oh, man.
And yeah, those would definitely make you feel out of place,
Yeah.
Lots of crickets. And,
Yeah, especially if you go up like second,
yep.
where it's you get sandwiched in between two guys that are doing Cookie Monster vocals.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yep.
For a while, it seemed like Betty couldn't find the right shows to get on, but it also kind of helped us out and worked with us because we were playing shows with a lot of what I would call just like any metal band. From you go from like thrash metal to like what you were talking about with like the newer like Godsmacky kind of Disturbed kind of metal.
Uh-huh.
Anywhere in between those two. And we were getting booked with a lot of those bands, and it was weird because we were like, we don't not fit on this, but we don't fit on this because, you know, we're a punk band, but when you put us up next to other punk bands, we don't really fit in with the other punk bands either.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a blessing in disguise, though, because it gets like a ridiculously fresh set of eyes on you. And if nothing else, the shock factor of having you there will have people remember who you are.
Yeah, that is true. I can vouch for that because I've had a lot of my personal friends just be like speaking about Wrestling with Wolves, like they're metalheads, but they're like, you know, I really like this stuff. Like I don't normally like this stuff, but this is good. Yeah, you know. So
yeah, and that comes back down to like you don't always have to mesh perfectly or be somebody's favorite style, but just getting out there in the community and making the music around the other people making the music and putting names and faces to the art is it helps personify these things and humanize them to an extent. And I definitely I couldn't agree more with that. Like people could even if they say Three Finger Betty's not their favorite, but they still like it. Like I get it. Like there's tons of bands I have like that, and I love going to their shows. I love seeing them play live. And I'm not like calling out bands, but everybody's got preferences. And, you know, I'm not going to hate on anyone for not going to a Three Finger Betty show because maybe it's not your favorite show. But, dude, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of unique bands out there, and Three Finger Betty is definitely one of those. It doesn't fit the mold too much. And I would definitely have to say Good Devils is well along those lines, too, because you guys don't exactly fit the mold of what most people normally see in a band.
I've been trying to like figure out how to label it. The best I can do is punk rock, you know. It's in the middle there, you know. Like we've got punk elements, fast songs, but also at the same time it's got that swing to it, you know, like Queens of the Stone Age or something.
Yeah, man.
So
I mean, yeah, that's actually a good descriptor. It kind of has that Queens of the Stone Age feel to it.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that's tough about like what does Good Devil sound like? What does Three Finger Betty sound like? I don't know. It's tough. Like one of my favorite things is going to shows and talking to people afterwards, and somebody's just like, dude, this one song you played sounded so much like Motorhead, and it's like, what? And then like at another show we went to, somebody was just like, this song sounds exactly like Nirvana. I hear it, and it's like, huh?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then you go to another show, and somebody's just like, this sounds like Blue Murder, and it's like, what? Like, I have no clue what we're talking about here. Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely open to perception, but everybody does get whatever they want to out of the music, because ultimately it is just art. You're putting it out there and letting people interpret it how they want to.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten like Poorly Crafted. Man, that sounds like Soundgarden. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I was not going for Soundgarden, but
yeah, exactly.
I appreciate it still.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing is like maybe they like Soundgarden and they likened what you were doing to something that was like something that they enjoyed. You know, and that's even justly that's a good compliment to get from somebody.
Yeah, I agree.
We're not quite up to an hour, but we're kind of getting close. I mentioned the two Good Devils events that you had coming up. Is that the only band that you're in currently that's booking shows?
Correct, yeah.
All right. Poorly Crafted Dog, you were mentioning maybe kind of trying to fire them back up a little bit, or
maybe thinking about talking about perhaps maybe.
Well, if anybody wants to jump on that one, that's at Poorly Crafted Dog on Facebook. Do you got other social media for that? Nope. Oh, nope. Man, it's a one-stop shop for Poorly Crafted Dog fans.
I guess Bandcamp, but...
yeah, do you also utilize SoundCloud, though, correct?
Yeah.
Do you have one for just Poorly Crafted Dog, or was there other...
The Poorly Crafted Dog one is more like my personal demos. Like, that's all stuff from when I first started recording with the iPad and just messing around. So.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. I saw you interacted with the Audible Farm SoundCloud page, so I started kind of listening to some of the Poorly Crafted Dog stuff that was on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Especially for you to say that you just like a lot of that was like the iPad days.
Yeah.
So geez, like kudos, just for having like the stick-to-itiveness to keep going with it.
Yeah.
I've got so many demos that are like 40 seconds done and just garbaged because I didn't know what to do with them. But I've got like one good riff.
Yeah, I think I got a whole hard drive full of that. So.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
One of my earliest memories of you, I went and saw it was one of your first shows with TV Cop that I saw you with, and you were playing in Fort Dodge.
Yeah.
And you were outside like restringing a guitar, and when you got done restringing your guitar, you started playing some music, and I was like, wait, I know this song, and I was like, oh wait, you friggin' playing Steely Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
And you were. Do you remember the song you were playing?
It was Josie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh God. So that was something that was just like, geez, this guy knows what's up. He's playing freaking Steely Dan. So
yeah.
I mean,
Steely
that was
Dan
something
all the way.
What's that?
Steely Dan all the way, man. Best
Dude,
band
Steely
in the
Dan
world.
is So yeah, they're so good. I was trying to tell a friend of mine, I was like, you need to start listening to Steely Dan, and they're like, what song? And then I was like, well, let me find a good one. So I Googled, and I was like, I know 14 of these that are on the radio. Like
exactly.
Like, and everyone's just like, who's Steely Dan? Don't ask these questions.
Yeah.
Just go to YouTube,
you already
hit
know.
Steely Dan, and enjoy what you listen to. 'Cause it's so amazing.
Yeah.
Man, now for some reason I'm looking up Steely Dan events, like I'm gonna go to one or something. Oh man,
go to their Las Vegas residency. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I saw that on their front page. But they are going on a tour, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe we should hit up a Steely Dan show.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Dude, there's a show in Moline.
Hell yeah.
That's not too far away. Maybe we'll hit that up September 4th. Nobody else buy tickets. I gotta get one.
Yep.
Do you think we mentioned most of the stuff? Is there something else you wanted to get at that I haven't quite mentioned yet?
I mean, not off the top of my head, no. I mean,
awesome, man.
Yeah.
So we got Good Devils. You guys are playing a couple shows. May 23rd.
Yep.
That's at Gabe's, and then you got September 27th with Doyle from the Misfits, and that's also at Gabe's.
Yep.
So those are the two shows you got booked as of now.
Looking for more.
For more. So go to @GoodDevilsMusic and shoot them a message, or I guess maybe you have an email, but that'd probably be Facebook Messenger's just as good, man.
Right.
All right, Johnathan. Do you go for John or Jonathan?
Either one, man.
All right, I'm gonna call you Johnathan.
Cool.
All right, so Jonathan, appreciate it. Thank you for sitting down and doing the podcast with me. And when you end the recording, I just stick around because I'm going to talk to you afterwards. But thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Pete.
Hey, what a guest. That was a fun time. Another remote interview. I've only done a couple of those, and I'm going to try and keep them on a limited basis if I can. They're not as easy to pull off as I thought they were. There's a little bit more editing involved, but you know what? I'm sure that's neither here nor there to you, the listener. So I just want to give a huge shout out to Johnathan Rowl for doing the remote interview with me, doing his part, and recording his audio and sending it over to get the best audio available. I didn't want to get one of those like weird phone call kind of audios. I know there's ways to master yourself around it, but I didn't want to go for that. So shout out to John for being as awesome as he is. Go check him out online. Check out all of his bands online. All of the links are below, especially Good Devils. He was talking about in the interview how they don't have too many shows booked, but I have seen in the last handful of days they have booked at least one more show. So check them out online. Be sure you check out the Black Lab Studios, because the Black Lab Studios is where Johnathan does most of his recording, and I'll tell you what, he's a consummate professional. I've heard his work with TV Cop that he did with Season 3, and it was amazing. So huge shout out to that. He's a talented guy. He plays drums and guitar and everything else. He's got that fun band with that octave pedal. Good Devils is going to be a heck of a time. I can't wait to go see them live sometime. Make sure you go to audiblefarm.com. You can find all of the Audible Farm stuff there. You can figure out where we got links to everything there. And a tip of the cap, that goes to the Iowa Podcast Network for setting up that page. There are links to anywhere you can find us on social media, including our Facebook, Twitter, our Instagram. Even our YouTube page is there. You can listen to the SoundCloud feed right from there. So if you're like at a browser and you just want to go to audiblefarm.com, you can listen to the podcast right from there. It's a good cheat at work, a good way to get around it at work if you want to try and do it that way. Otherwise, YouTube is probably your best bet for work. Check us out online at Audible Farm for all the social media. You can go to YouTube, search Audible Farm, We're the Pig, click subscribe, make sure you never miss another episode again. Send us an email if you'd like. You can go to audiblefarm@gmail.com and send us an email to that address. And, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I do the best I can to get a hold of everybody in a timely fashion. And if I forget about you, just send me another email. Keep after me. I'm busy these days, and I'm sure everybody is. Another huge shout out goes to the Iowa Podcast Network. Did you know if you go to www.audiblefarm.com, there's a form there. You can fill it out. You fill out the form, it sends me an email automatically. You don't even have to do the whole Gmail thing if you don't want to do it old school. You can do it new school. You can go ahead and leave us a review. I know you can do it on iTunes. I'm pretty sure you can do it on most places wherever you're listening, but go ahead and leave us a review. Give us that thumbs up, the wink wink, the nudge, and the pokes and everything else. Do it all. Love you guys for everything you're doing. I'm so happy everybody's listening. Huge shout out again to Johnathan Rowl. Go check out the Good Devils. Check out the Black Lab Studio. Links below. The links are down below, so check those out. Thank you guys very much for tuning in this week and listening. I had a great time conversing with Johnathan Rowl. I don't do too many remote interviews, but it's a fun time to actually get to do them. While I got you guys here, I just wanted to talk about that solo show I've been alluding to that happened last week, and it was amazing. It was tons of fun. I had a great time playing guitar for all sorts of people, young and old, people doing the wine walk. Some people came just to watch me. Got a lot of compliments from a lot of people. Thank you guys very, very much for showing up and doing that, and thank you for supporting the Humboldt Arts Council and all they do for the community, because they sure do a lot. It's nice to have those organizations in a nice small town like this. So shout out to the Humboldt Arts Council, and thank you for the booking. I really appreciate it. I had a wonderful time. Thank you very much for listening. This is episode number 36 with Johnathan Rowl. I was your host, Peter Stockdale. Thank you very much. I'll check you next time. Peace.